Hi, I'm Megan from Excel at Home, and this is part 2 of my Christmas card list where I'm going to show you mail merge. So if you already watched the first video, then you know how to do freeze panes and filters. We're in particular going to use filters when we do this second part and our mail merge. I don't know about you, but I really hate hand addressing my Christmas cards. I have terrible handwriting and I'm lazy. So I use this mail merge every year, and it's actually pretty easy. There's a bunch of steps. They're somewhat intuitive. I have all the steps listed out on my blog, which you can refer to, but I'm just going to walk through them right now. So this is a sample Christmas card list. Again, if you watched my other video, you know that these names and addresses are completely random. They are not real. Please don't try to contact these people. But I've already got my filters and my frozen panes. So what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to use this filter on my 2015, and these are the people I want to send to. And I'm going to unselect the blanks so I just get those people. Now I'm going to go ahead and highlight all their names and addresses. Make sure you include the column headings. That's really important. You'll see why later. If you don't have it, it's going to cause a couple of headaches for you. So just make sure you include that. Then I'm just going to hit Control C. And I'm going to add a new tab to this spreadsheet, and I'm going to paste it over here. I did a straight paste, nothing special. And then I'm going to do one of my little tricks. If you highlight the columns and then hover your mouse in between the columns and double click, it's going to automatically resize your columns. Just makes it easier to read. This can sometimes get difficult if you've got one entry with a really long entry. It's going to make your column really wide, but in a case like this, it just makes it easy. So now I'm going to do something called named ranges. I don't use this very often. I find that it can get clunky. It's easy to forget like what cells you named, but Excel does allow you to name any cell or range of cells. You can call it whatever you want, and Excel's going to remember that, and it will reference it. So I'm going to name this list. You've probably never noticed this little box up here, but this is your name box. If you don't give a cell a name, it's just going to call it the cell reference. So in this case, it says A1 because I clicked in A1 to start when I highlighted this whole group. But now I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to call this list 2015. I tried to call it 2015 list, and it got mad at me. I think you can't start with a number. I don't know why. And you can't have spaces. So just make these simple names. Then you hit enter. And now if you watch this, if I click over here, my name box went to age 8. That's where I am now. But if I click this little arrow, well, I have another address list in here. List 2015, it highlighted that range. So this range we now have called list 2015. So now I've got that part done. We're done with Excel. So I'm going to hit save. And now we're going to move on to Microsoft Word. I know I'm using Word. I never use Word. But it's easy for mail merge. This is one of those times when it just happens to work. So I just have a blank workbook here. I'm going to click up here on mailings and start a mail merge. And I want labels. You can do other things, but labels is my favorite. And it's going to think for a minute. Then it pulls up this option box. And what it wants is basically the size of your labels. So if you buy any labels from the store, it's probably going to say right at the top what you're supposed to use. So mine says use Avery template 5162. So that's what I'm going to look for. So, oh, look, you can tell I used this a minute ago. There's Avery US letter. It's from this list. Oh, and it went away. But I'm going to scroll down. These are just in numerical order. There's a whole bunch of them. There's 5162. It's always a good idea to double check that it has the right dimensions. That it has the right dimensions right here. So yes, these are 8.5 by 11 sheets, and it says here on my labels that they're 1 1/3 by 4 inches. So that is correct. I'm going to click OK. I know it doesn't look like anything happened yet, but stay with me. The next thing we're going to do is select our recipients. So again, here's where you can type a new list or you can use an existing list. And it's going to want me to navigate to my file, so give me just a second to get there. And now remember when we named that range? There it is. It's all ready to go. So list 2015. Okay, now it's starting to look a little bit like something. It's at least showing you that it's got the right dimensions in there, and it's going to look for the next record. But the label's blank. We haven't added anything to it. So here, remember when I told you how important your column headings are? It automatically knew that my first row were my column headings. Now you just have to tell Word what fields do you want to put where. So I'm going to put first name, and then make sure you put a space between first name and last name. Then hit enter to go to the next row. We're going to do street, and then we're going to do city, comma, space, state, space, zip. Oh, I didn't realize you could do that. Okay. Now, you want to make sure you click this Update Labels button. If you don't, you're only going to end up with one label. I've only filled in this one label. So I hit Update, and then it fills them all in. Now I'm going to do one more thing, see if I can do this here. It's not giving me very much white space, so I'm going to insert an indent right here, just to give me a little bit more space on the side. I don't want my labels printed all the way over on the left. I want to make sure I've got plenty of space. Now I go back to mailings, and I'm going to click Finish and Merge. You can go straight to print if you want. I really prefer to look at my labels, make sure they came out right before I print them. So you click this Edit Individual Documents, and then it wants to know how many of your labels you want. So you can say, only give me 1 through 10. Now, obviously that wouldn't work with our original spreadsheet because we didn't have just one block. We had 1 here and then 5 here, and it was random. So that's why I like to have one list where you can just say, pull all. And there we go, ta-da! It's got all of my fake people who live in Kansas City, Hawaii. These random names and addresses really crack me up. Anyway, now what you can do, since you told it to edit, you can double check and make sure this looks the way you want it to. So one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to change the font. I think this font is boring. So I'm going to come in here and let's pick something fun. Whatever you want. Forte, there we go. Forte is a little bit small. It's nice and dark, but it's a little small, so I'm going to increase the font size a little bit. There you go. And now you've got labels ready to print. You can print straight from here. Just make sure you feed in your label pages. Again, be careful because sometimes what Word thinks the labels, where exactly they should be, sometimes it shifts a little bit. So again, that's why I like to make sure there's plenty of white space so you're not going to accidentally print on, the line between labels. That's not usually too much of a problem, but wasn't that so much easier than hand dressing? That took us 10 minutes and they're all going to be done, and then you just have to peel them off and stick them on your letters and you're good to go. I do this every year. It is so much easier. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that it helps. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I am happy to help with anything you might be struggling with, and thanks for watching.